A bank robber is holding up a bank. He says to the cashier, put all the money in the bag. Don't set off the alarm and no funny business or your geography. The cashier goes, don't you mean history? He goes, don't change the subject, bitch. Go! It's 4 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock somewhere.
Oh, look, I'm not going to lie. I didn't quite get it.
Don't change the subject, Jashan.
I'm just going to have to rewatch the video and try and understand that. Let's move on.
Oh, come on, mate. That was a killer.
You got me hooked on the geography. I think I was thinking too long about that, and then I missed a little bit of the punchline. But anyway, I'll watch it back. I'll watch it back, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Welcome to another episode of 4 o'clock somewhere, everyone. Thanks for joining us yet again. What are we up to? Season 2, episode 8.
Episode 8, yes.
Episode 8. Thanks for joining us. And, guys, we have officially hit 10K last week, so thank you guys for being the first 10K. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. All we ask to help us out and keep us doing this thing.
Yeah.
Because we're getting sick of each other, but we're doing it for you now.
Yeah, I mean, the place is starting to smell a little bit, but it just smells so good.
It smells a fan. Tony, we got a fun episode in store today. Oh, it's going to get controversial.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover, and it absolutely is going to get controversial. And some of the comments already, oh man, some of them I want to read, some of them I don't. But, you know, we put it out there. The people have spoken, and I can't wait to get to that. What is it? Gender pay gap.
Ooh.
Does it exist? Is it a thing?
It's getting spicy in the comments right now, I can tell you that.
It is. It's heating up.
Yeah.
It's heating up. And I'm very excited to sort of get into that. But I just want to touch on this first. Why do people cheat? Everybody does it.
In relationships?
In anything and every way.
Okay.
Right across the board.
Enlighten us. Who's cheated?
But, you know, I don't mind people cheating. That's
cheating?
fine.
You don't mind people cheating?
I don't know. Everybody sort of has a little bit of cheating ability, a little bit of cheating quality.
You're not talking about relationship cheating.
No, I'm just talking about
competition
in anything and everything.
Okay.
In anything and everything. Yeah, maybe in relationships.
I don't mind a bit of cheating.
Maybe in gambling. Maybe here, maybe there. But there's a story that I just cannot wrap my head around. And if there's one area where you do not want to cheat, you don't want to cheat.
Tell me.
Fishing.
How do you cheat in fishing?
Yeah, exactly. How do you cheat in fishing?
What, chucking a fish on the hook and chucking it out there and pulling one in?
It sounds impossible, right? And I'm not just talking fishing. I'm talking competition tournament fishing. Like, how do you do that, right? Because it's governed by people. There are marshals on site. Everybody leaves and comes back and they weigh their fish. How on earth are you able to cheat? Two guys have not only managed to do it, they've managed to do it in such a huge way, and they did it for so long. And I'm talking some of the biggest fishing comps in America, where
these are like professional fishermen?
Professional fishermen. You know, they go out as a duo, two blokes out, fish, they catch some salmon, come back, weigh it. And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars in prize money. And not only that, they give boats away, cars. It's really quite huge. Like I said, some of the biggest tournaments in America.
Yeah. What have they done?
Oh, they've done it. I think it was in 22, these two guys did it. And they'd been doing it for quite a while. What was it? The walleye fishing tournament. And they almost got away with it again. Almost. Or to the point where they weighed the fish. And
what are they doing? Tell me, what are they?
Well, they're catching salmon. So you go out, you catch salmon, you bring them back, and then there's like a big stage set up where you weigh the salmon, and everybody's waiting around to see who's going to obviously have the heaviest salmon, and the winner takes home the prize money. They get paid the big check in tens of thousands of dollars. They get applauded by their peers. It got to the point, though, everybody was starting to get suspicious of, what was his name? Jacob and Chase. Because they were winning everything. Obviously, they weren't smart cheaters. They were just cheaters. And they were winning everything.
So how were they doing it? How are they cheating?
These guys, they're walking up on stage. They're weighing their fish. And the fish are like 8 pound heavier than everybody else's, which is quite substantial. But it seemed for the first time, once they walked off stage, the marshal or the referee took their fish and was holding their fish, and he thought, I'm just going to check this. So he grabbed a knife and he cut open the fish. Guess what he found?
Cocaine.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was a little bit of cocaine in there. Absolutely, mate. The guys loved the rack. For sure. But no, we're talking lead balls, like a whole lot of lead weight. And if that wasn't enough, there was also fish fillets. So fish fillets and lead weights packed inside this salmon.
Wait, how are they getting them in? Like they're obviously cutting a fish open, stitching it up. How is it not noticed?
Or just stuffing it down the throat of the fish. Yeah. The balls are so big, but there's quite a few balls inside this fish. There is a video of this. It is absolutely mind-blowing, and it just set a storm off not only in America but also the world, because let's face it is one of the most popular sports. There's golf, there's football or soccer, and then there's fishing.
But you'd think, like, with the size of the fish, you'd think fishermen would get to know how much this thing should feel like it weighs at one particular size, right? There'd be similar fish of a similar size, and this one's just 8 pounds heavier. Like, surely, how do you not get caught earlier?
I know. I can't comprehend that myself, how they got away with it for so long. Obviously, they're great guys.
All these fishermen got to stop drinking on the job. Everyone's just pissed, doesn't know what they're doing.
But that's the sport. And, it's a trusting sport. It's a passion sport. You get out there. The last thing you're going to be thinking is that these guys are stuffing lead weights down the throats of these fish.
Yeah.
And it obviously got to a point where they were that cocky with it, they just didn't give a shit. And they were they'd gone too far. There is a great video of this.
Pull it up.
Can we play it?
Yeah,
let's watch it.
Call the cops. Okay, so I got pretty serious.
Very serious.
That is theft.
And that's the guy there. He's standing there looking over his fish thinking, I've been done.
Who's done that? Who's done that? That wasn't me.
I'm caught.
That wasn't me.
He couldn't move. He didn't move. Oh, here they go. Here they go.
Oh, you're not talking small little things.
Isn't that unbelievable?
They'd be stuffing it down these fish's throats.
And they'd been doing it for many, many tournaments.
Wow. So what ended up happening to these guys?
Well, mate, it all went to court. I mean, felony charges. They went to jail.
Did they? They went to jail for this?
They went to jail for a few... Well, they went to jail.
For fraud, I guess?
Yeah, fraud, grand theft auto, because one of the prizes was a boat.
No way.
Or a car or whatever it was, yeah. So they had to give that back.
That's obviously the guy there, standing there just staring.
That's him, look at him. Oh.
That moment of shame just watching.
He's just frozen with fear. So there you go, fish fillets.
That's pretty hectic. So these guys were the champions?
They were the champions by far. They were leading at by a huge amount.
And they went to jail. That's crazy.
They went to jail.
Yeah, all right, we can. Yeah.
And I just had to mention this because I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Like, I love my fishing. I'm not a great fisherman, but I love it. Every bloke loves it. It's what connects all men. But if I knew we went fishing, we had a little comp, and I got smell of you cheating, our friendship would be done. It'd be over. Yet these guys fucked around a lot of blokes for a very, very long time for a lot of money, a lot of prizes, and they got done. And it just blew my mind. I just thought I had to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, they were in the running to win 30.
How would they not know they would get caught? Man, how do you think you would get away with that?
No, they just got to the point where they got that cocky, they're untouchable, ego's the size of a house, and look, they were up for Team of the Year award, which was a $30,000 prize. So we're not talking chump change. But yeah, essentially they did...
the co-defendants who pleaded not guilty? It wasn't us. We caught the fish and someone else must have done it, bro.
It's not me in the video. You, not me. Yeah, right. It's fucking you, mate.
Wow. Speaking of guilt, 6 deathbed confessions. People on their deathbed confessing this right before they die. This got interesting. We've looked up a bunch. Crazy deathbed confessions. You ready?
Yes, go.
First one. Earl Van, on his deathbed, confessed that he was the Zodiac Killer. Serial killer from back in what era was it? Whenever it was.
Yeah.
Never caught. Zodiac Killer went his whole life not being caught. Earl Van confessed to being the Zodiac Killer. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But you confess to that on your deathbed? That's your final words?
The Zodiac Killer
The Zodiac Killer.
And he never got caught.
Never got caught.
That is unbelievable.
But Earl Van, on his deathbed, confessed to being him. Whether that's been proven, I have no idea. I haven't looked at the fact. I haven't fact-checked any of this stuff. But we're rolling with it. Christian Sperling, you know the Loch Ness Monster? Confessed on his deathbed that he faked the whole thing. You know that iconic photo of the Loch Ness Monster? Yeah, he set it up with like toy dinosaurs and stuff.
Okay,
He confessed on his deathbed.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of photos of Loch Ness since then.
Have there?
Oh, AI does a great job. Okay, so I'm musical, so I'm gonna go with a rock and roll conspiracy here. We're talking about the murder of Brian Jones. He founded the Rolling Stones on his deathbed. Frank Thorogood, he allegedly admitted to killing him by drowning him in his own pool after a fight.
Who was Frank?
Yeah, Frank Thorogood.
Who's that? Is he a muso as well, or just a random?
No, he's just his mate, just hanging out having a beer, just like you and me.
Confessed to drowning
him in his own pool. And Frank admitted that on his deathbed.
Wow.
The death was originally death by misadventure, but the confession, revived the investigation.
Wow.
We're all talking about deathbed confessions. We all know now with the Trump getting in, JFK files are out there. We can read it. We can all catch up on it, and it says right there the CIA was involved. There's a few deathbed confessions, and Jack Ruby was one of them. Jack Ruby. What was this crime? He killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Before his death from cancer in 1967, Ruby claimed that powerful people were behind Kennedy's assassination and that he was silenced to prevent the truth from coming out. Well, we now know that to be the case.
Who's Ruby?
He killed Lee Harvey Oswald. He shot him. It's in the video.
And he's saying he was involved?
No, well, he was involved because there's a video of him shooting Lee Harvey Oswald.
But with the JFK.
Well, he is involved indirectly to the assassination because he took out Lee Harvey Oswald. But essentially he's saying, there's some powerful people that were involved and behind all of this. And now we know what we know. He's absolutely right. His confession was true.
So what is the latest? I haven't heard what the latest is. Who killed JFK and what was the reason?
Well, what they're saying is Lyndon Johnson knew about it apparently, but that was confessed on his deathbed. Jack Ruby, yeah.
Henry Lucas, a convicted serial killer, on his deathbed admitted that he never killed anyone.
So he was
innocent the whole time.
But was he convicted? Did he serve time for that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there you go. See, I believe him. Why on your deathbed, having been charged with it? Because on your deathbed, if you were going to release your soul and do the right thing, you would confess.
I would feel like he would know who the killer was then. He would have been covering up forever.
Maybe, but I do believe his innocence.
Yeah. That's an interesting one, though, eh?
That is.
Live your life being charged with murders, accept it, and then on your deathbed, I actually did none of it.
That's get you thinking.
He was friends with the Zodiac Killer. That's why the Zodiac Killer got away with it the whole time.
Yeah. Wow, I like the twist in that. That's fantastic. John Jovino, on his deathbed, he admitted to carrying out a hit ordered by the Jovino crime family. Many decades later, confession helped to close a cold case but was never publicised in full due to a lack of collaborating evidence. Martin Luther King. There was a nurse working in the hospital where Martin Luther King's body was taken. Now, they say Martin Luther King was wide awake when he hit the hospital. In fact, he confessed on his deathbed that Martin Luther King was smothered by a pillow.
No way.
Connected to the CIA.
Wow.
Yep, the family took the state to court and they won the case.
Margaret Gibson, a Hollywood actor back in the day, on her deathbed confessed to killing director William Desmond Taylor. A director. Deathbed murders, man. There's a lot of deathbed confessions to murders.
Yeah.
If you're like a hectic serial killer or something strapped to the electric chair, what would your final words be?
My final words? I love lamp. I love lamp. That'd be my final words.
I just need to clarify. Is it jogging or yogging? We're going there. The question of the week. What's the verdict? The thing we're going to figure out once and for all and solve it for the rest of the world so you can stop talking about it. This is for us to solve. We're here with the people and we're going to figure out what's the verdict. And today's question of the week. The gender pay gap. Ooh. Is it real?
Yeah.
Is it real? And we want to hear from some experiences of people from either side, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you mention it to people, the gender pay gap, and you say, does it exist? Generally, they'll just say, of course it does. Yes. But not always is there some thought and put behind that. They'll just say, yes, it is. And it's just accepted that there is. And I've got to say, I'm guilty. I've been guilty of that. No question at all. I think, of course there is. Men get paid more.
Well, I think it's just very simple. It's without having to think about it too much. It's very simple. You can just say, okay, if you're basing it off a yearly salary from random guys and random girls, then yeah, there's probably more guys that make more money than random girls. Mm-hmm. However, if you're doing the same job, same thing, same skill levels, etc., you're getting paid equal. That's as simple as it can be. I don't get why it needs to be so bloody profound.
Well, is it though? Is it? Like, if a woman and a man were to do the same job, are they going to get paid equally?
If they have the same skill level, and if you're comparing apples to apples, yes. If they're doing the same job, they've been there the same amount of time, they can do the job just as good as each other, and they're the same gender. As long as they're both male, they'll get paid the same. If there's a female there, she'll get paid less.
Yeah, I mean... I knew it.
I was testing if you were listening there.
I knew it. Yeah.
No, if it's comparing apples to apples, they're the same. They've been there as long as each other, same skill sets, same everything. You're getting paid the same.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
That's right. It's not about equality of outcome. It certainly is equality of opportunity, right? Given both the opportunity and they delivering the same results, well, of course you would think there wouldn't be a disparity in the pay. It does come down to those defining factors, right? There's the women... And it's not just about men and women and their personalities, but it's also about choices that are made through their life. And I think it's obvious that women aren't going to make, generally speaking, the same choices as men in terms of career, and men aren't going to make the same choices as women.
But then the question should be, do men and women have the same careers? That's what you can talk about. It's not the same pay. Same pay should be compared to the same careers. So as soon as you start saying men have different careers to women, that's why men make more. No. If you're in the same career, they're generally going to be paid the same.
You would think, yeah. Well, you would think so. But then what about when they get to a point where they're getting paid, they're doing the same job, they're getting paid. Say the woman is now 28, anywhere between 28 to 35. She wants to start a family.
Yep.
Now, she's been building her career up. She's been doing the work. And you've got to understand, moving into higher ranks and promotions, you have to turn up to work. You've got to be there.
Yeah, of course.
24/7 and you have to, because you're competing against other people, and you're competing against people that are very, very bloody competitive, that are sacrificing a hell of a lot. Obviously the ladies want to start a family, and kids.
So they go away and do that.
And
they want to come back, a few years later and still get paid the same as the guy that's now progressed in his career? Well, now you're all of a sudden not at the same level.
That's right.
Because one's continued on and progressed while the other one halted. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do. Like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Family and career are different things. They just are. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
You can't just expect that you're going to be progressing up the line to CEO if you take a bunch of years off to have a family. Not saying that having a family is a bad thing. I think that's one of the best things you can do. However, you can't expect to move up the ranks during that time.
No, that's right. I mean, they say that's
just entitlement.
Yeah, that's true. They say one of the contributing factors, or major contributing factors, of which they mention 20 of them, is motherhood, taking time off to build, raise, and love a family. And that's just the facts, right? That's kind of just how it is. But also to attain those high goals, I mean, it does take a certain type of human being. And generally, obviously, to reach the really high ranks, there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that. So, hence, that's why there's more male CEOs than female CEOs. I mean, they've already proven there is no difference in intelligence. Women are just as smart and men are just as smart as the ladies. We're even Stevens as far as that goes. But it's career choice.
I think there's different smarts in different areas as well. Men have strengths and women have strengths, and in total IQ, it all evens it out.
But yeah, I mean, if you leave it down to career choices, if free reign, ladies would sort of gravitate more toward healthcare, nursing, and men obviously, because we're thinkers, will gravitate more toward engineering and finance.
Yeah, but that's not comparing if men are getting paid the same as women then, because that's once again comparing careers that people have. I could complain that I get paid less than a singer.
Yeah, but then those careers...
Singers get paid more than podcasters. Why the fuck is that the case?
Oh, no, that's justified. Oh, shit, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Podcasters should get paid the same as rocket scientists. Why should they get paid more?
Yeah.
That's like what it's saying. Comparing two different careers.
Yeah, well, it's just different careers, pay different amounts of money. And
bloke engineers are getting paid more than bloke newspaper boys. You know what I mean? It's the same. If you're comparing careers, then it's the same on both ends.
Yeah.
It's not just guys get paid more. It's anyone that's in that field is getting paid more than a dude in another job.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to the comments.
There's been some...
I think it's going to get fiery in here.
Amazing comments on this.
I hope it does. I'd love to see what the people are saying. Okay, so over on the 4 o'clock somewhere Facebook page, We have thrown the question out. Is the gender pay gap real? Tell us your experiences. Okay, well, let's start with Brendan March. Never heard of that. Please explain in better detail. Okay, and we've got Deborah that has obviously attempted to do just that. Key aspects of the gender pay gap. Persistence. The gender pay gap has been persistent in the US for decades, with progress toward closing it having stalled in recent years. Disparities across race and ethnicity. The gap is often larger for women of colour, particularly Hispanic and black women, relative to white men. Here we go. Education and occupation. Despite higher rates of college graduation for women than men, the pay gap persists at all education levels, and women are also underrepresented in high-paying jobs. Okay, let's start with that last bloody sentence. College graduation has nothing to do with what a career pays, you know? I'm sorry, if you've gone and studied something in college and graduated from that, but then you get a job in something that didn't require as much education as you thought it might, and it doesn't pay as much as someone that's sitting doing a dangerous job in a mine or something. They're getting paid more. You can't college is a different topic all in itself.
Yeah.
But I think people are coming to realise college means probably a lot less these days, and not everyone needs it. Like, there's obviously particular career paths that do need it, but people go to college to learn photography, let's say. I do not think you need a college degree to learn to be a fantastic photographer. You need to pick up a camera, and rather than sitting in a classroom for 4 years, you go take photos every day for 4 years. I guarantee you're going to be a better photographer.
I think it's just important that everybody's given the opportunity.
And that I do believe happens.
Yeah. Well, more so now than it ever did before.
Yeah.
It maybe less a generation ago, and maybe even more less than that 2 generations ago. But certainly there seems to be equal opportunity in the workplace now. But the reality is there's things that women can't do that men can do, and there's things that women can do that men can't do. And again, you know, we go back to characteristics or traits in the character. You know, men are generally thinkers and women are generally carers. You know, they're more agreeable, they're more compassionate, they're more caring, generally speaking. And men are more analytical, they're more thinking-based.
Physical.
And they're more aggressive as well, which works when it comes to negotiating a better pay, works when it comes to asking for a promotion. Being agreeable obviously certainly doesn't work in your favour when it comes to pay rises. And these are, you know, clinical trials that they talk about, and obviously we always talk generally here, but that's the case. And we can't deny the differences between man and woman.
Paul Lockwood. I would guess there are still plenty of cases. However, in most of the advanced parts of the world, this has been dealt with. We even have the biggest council in the UK that has gone bankrupt because of payouts that they have had to do in order to compensate women. Most low-paid jobs would probably have always been equal due to minimum wage, but higher-paid jobs where 2 people earning different salary for similar job could still be there. Yeah, I agree, but I would say the people getting paid different things may have different experiences or different skills, and that would make them worth more.
Yeah.
So, and I hate when anyone brings up the sports or actors and all of that. Leave those singular artists and actors and all that. That's separate. Because why is Taylor Swift getting paid more than me? If I want to go to a show, why does Taylor Swift deserve more? Like,
people love her more than you.
Exactly. So
I've seen your legs. There's not much going on there, mate.
Her legs aren't that great too, let's be honest.
Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, no, you're right. There's specific situations like the NBA to the W.
Sports,
yeah,
leave it out.
To artists, basketball.
There's women actresses that make more than a heap of men actors. Yeah. There's, those industries get left out because that is solely dependent on skills.
We need to bring back the nuclear family. Men go to work, make the money. Women stay at home, cook the meals, look after the kids. And when we walk in the door, there's a freshly baked pie.
Sitting on the windowsill.
Sitting where with the rag, the
with
chicken.
The dog's just sniffing at it.
But the dog knows not to touch it. And kids are running around, daddy's home. It just keeps things so much simpler, right? I love Ronald Luther.
Happy 10K subscribers.
Yes.
Thank you, Ronald.
I love that he slotted Happy 10,000 into this topic. Good on you, Ron.
Okay, we've got one from Chantel Daly.
Shani.
Oh, here we go. This is a long one. Okay, typical men saying, no, there isn't, and men can do more. As a woman with a career, I have to choose to put my development and progression on hold if I become pregnant. Pregnancy and postpartum is no walk in the park. It changes our brains. And then we have to choose do we raise my children who we brought into the world, or do I go back to work and selfishly pursue a career? And per child, this can take over a year.
Yes.
While hubby carries on, doesn't have his body changed, doesn't have the mental turmoil from childbearing, and continues to climb the ladder. I shouldn't have to forego having a career to raise a child? ? You don't have to. You don't have to have a child.
Oh, so well,
22% of CEOs in Australia are women. We've only had equal access to jobs since 1984, but that doesn't include the underlying sexism and discrimination that occurs regardless because of the expectation a woman will go on maternity leave or not show the same level of commitment. Yes, there is a pay gap. Yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's unfair, but I don't know how to fix it without men becoming pregnant and sharing the load equally. Okay, Chantal.
Okay.
I think you have gone on about a separate issue here, because now we're talking about you going into this is basically based on having kids, right? And you're saying going to have kids, I have to go do that. And well, you said it yourself. I choose to go and have kids and put my development and progression on hold. So I'm sorry, with doing that is going to obviously affect with your progression in a career where someone else, let's say it's another woman who decided to not have a baby. She progresses in her career and she's going to get paid more than you want than when you come back. It's as simple as that. This isn't to do with men and women on the apples versus apples on the same career, on the same job, doing this. Like, you're now bringing in factors that create exactly what this is. So this isn't about because you're a woman you get paid less. This is because you're going away for years and having and putting a different priority on family, which, by the way, I agree with. I think everyone should go out and have a family. I think that's more important. But if we're talking on the topic, like, it's just as simple as that. You've been away where other people have progressed. And I think it's as simple as that. And let's go on to, we've only had equal access to jobs since 1984. Okay, yeah. Now we're talking 30, what's 1984? That's now 40 years ago. So I don't know why we're still bringing that up. Well, let's talk about today. Like, I know shit was different in the past.
Well, you got to remember too,
and we've moved on from
we've had the Me Too movement come in. Now, again, it's better now than it was then. I can tell you a lot of male bosses, CEOs or managers would think twice about discriminating against a woman. I mean, with workplace practice now, it's very hard to get away with anything. You know, and it's something is proven, well, you know, they can throw that right back at the company and the company will be liable for something. And just to answer on the motherhood thing, yeah, I mean, that's just, again, motherhood, work-life balance, it's a choice. It's a choice, and I'm so grateful, you know, even for that ladies have that choice.
Which, by the way, you get paid for going away you get maternity leave and all that. The guys don't get as many benefits for having a child as well. Yes, and do I believe they should? No, not really. I think guys should, be able to carry on their job as per usual. I don't think they need to be paid out for 6 months to a year and leave their job as well. But you girls do get that. So there's a difference in pay gap. We don't get that opportunity. But going on the 1984 thing, like, why do we keep bringing that up? We've changed those ways, and I think that's something to be celebrated, not keep bringing up what it used to be back before 1984. We're 40 years on, and we've gone in the right direction, and I would say this day and age, there is no such thing as a gender pay gap if you're comparing apples to apples.
I love the fact that we're talking about it, and when I say we, I mean we as a community, we as a nation, we as a planet are talking about it because it brings awareness to the subject, and people would think twice about, you know, obviously not giving both sexes equal opportunity at the end of the day.
Do you believe men and women get equal opportunity this day and age?
I do. I personally do. But then I'm sure if we get like a business owner on the phone, he might have, you know, whether it be a lady or a man, they may have a different point of view on that. I do think there's equal opportunity now, more so than ever before, and I think it'll only just get better and better as we become more aware.
The simple test is, name a job that women aren't allowed to go for. Male stripper, maybe that's it.
They just do the tuck. Oh no, hang on, that's
the other way around, mate.
That's the other way around.
Name a job that a woman isn't allowed to go for. There isn't. To be honest, there's probably more jobs that guys aren't allowed to go for. To be honest,
there was a time where they couldn't be soldiers, I think, and I mean, I'm sure there's jobs, but look, we're talking about the minority.
There was a time. Okay, we're talking about this day and age. Yes, women can be soldiers these days. Are they best fit? And by the way, I hate this whole quotas, having to have a certain amount of women in a role. I think that it should just be the best person for the job, no matter what the job is, whether it benefits women more or if it benefits men more. There's just particular jobs that are suited more to either guys or girls. And so to bring in quotas that say you have to have 20% at least women in this, you could potentially just be shortchanging yourself for doing, and vice versa, by the way. I'm not pinning out girls' roles, like guys as well.
No, it's you're totally right. It's discrimination to have quotas in companies, and not just in men and women, but also in colour. You have to have a certain amount of black people, a certain amount of white people.
That's ridiculous.
The whole concept stinks.
Yeah,
and it's not. It just divides people. It doesn't unite people. No, it really should, and I'm hoping in most cases comes down to best man or best woman for the role, and power to them as they sort of move along. But
did you ever watch that Morgan Freeman interview when the interviewer kept asking about racism? He's like, how do we stop racism? And Morgan was just like, you stop talking about it. Stop making every one of these conversations about race. Like, the more you talk about it, you are just simply making a racist sort of discernment on something.
Oh, you know what?
I loved his answer to that. He's stop talking about it. Stop asking these questions, and no one's then thinking about it.
He goes, well, what do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. He goes, well, look at you. You're a great example. Look at me. I'm a great example. That was that interview with Don Lemon. But you got to remember, Don Lemon's he's a lefty douchebag, really, and he just tries to create. He was trying to bring out some sort of controversy. But Morgan Freeman, I love the way he shut him down.
Yeah.
He just used himself as an example. Look at me. I'm a successful black man. Racism had nothing to do with my success and all my failures along the way. Here I am doing it. And look at you as well, Don.
What have you got there? Jordan Peterson.
Jordan, yeah, can we have a look at a video? And I mention this because it changed my perspective on it. And I think a lot of women got Jordan Peterson wrong in the beginning. They thought he was pro-men, anti-women, was all about, enhancing men and moving men up the ladder. But it's proven since not to be the case. In fact, for many, many years, in the last couple of decades, he empowers women, and he's been teaching women how to get pay rises, how to be more aggressive, how to be less agreeable, to get to the point where they need to be. But there's a video here. I'll bring it up. Let's watch this.
A system of male dominance of society.
Yeah, but that's not my sense of the patriarchy.
So what's yours?
Well, in what sense is our society male-dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labour.
Very tiny proportion of men, and a huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. It's like, where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society. There's nothing about that that's vaguely appropriate.
But I could say equally well that most rape victims are women. Terrible things happen to people of both sexes.
And you could say that with perfect utility, but that doesn't provide any evidence for the existence of a male-dominated patriarchy. Well, it just means that terrible things happen to both genders, which they certainly do.
How could anyone dislike Jordan Peterson? He's so classy in the way he has these conversations, and people arc up at him all the time. He stays so mellow and neutral, and he's so classy the way he handles his stuff.
He's very careful as to what words come out of his mouth.
Anyone that can absolutely hate that guy, I can't understand that.
I think in the beginning and years ago when he first came out, he rubbed everyone, because no one really understood. They weren't listening to him. They just saw him as this, guy that was anti-women.
Yeah.
But since then, look, he's obviously everyone knows what he's about now, and he's pro-women, he's pro-men, and he has his stances and he doesn't sort of budge on them. I think that was a great example of it.
Okay, we got one from Deborah Rumba here as well. She said, "Wish that was true. It is a thing in the good old USA. For whatever reason, has been stalled. Some may not be aware, but it is in fact a real thing." Deborah, I wish there was some examples included in that. We can't really just take a word for it. We want some substance that we can go by. So give us some examples if you are watching this. Joshua Vaught has an extremely long comment here, so I'm gonna chuck this into ChatGPT to summarize it a bit quicker for us. Hey, okay, let's see the ChatGPT summarized version of what Josh has just said. The gender pay gap often results from life choices, like women taking maternity leave, which affects their earnings and promotions. Shared paid parental leave could help balance out this over time. Women who avoid kids or stay career-focused earn the same as men, but those who take time off are penalised financially. I wouldn't say penalised is the right word. I just say you would halt your progression. You're not going backwards. Cassie took maternity leave. She went back to the same rate and everything. She wasn't penalised and went down. She came back to the same.
Sure.
True equality requires systematic changes like equal parental leave and shared responsibilities, but the issue is complex and varies across different industries. Thank you, ChatGPT, for summarising Josh's comment. I hope it summarised it well enough, but thank you, Josh.
I love that Josh took the time to not only just respond, but essentially wrote an essay.
Oh, you're making me feel terrible now for not reading Josh's actual one. I will read it later, Josh, but just for the sake of time on the podcast, we won't go through that entire one here.
No, I've read Josh's before, and it's quality. It's a quality reply. Good on you, Josh.
We will put it overlap it anyway. Okay, Trent Jacobs. The facts as of November 2024, the gender pay gap is 11.9% according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Average weekly earnings data. Okay, that key term there, average weekly earnings data, is an interesting one to me. This means women earn on average 88 cents for every dollar earned by men. The gender pay gap in Australia arises from a mix of structural, social and economic factors. Okay, so average weekly earnings data. We're not comparing apples to apples. We're comparing all men's jobs versus all women's jobs. It just so happens to be all of men's jobs turn out to make close to 12% more than all women's jobs, but we're not comparing apples to apples. So that's where this whole thing comes from. Comparing everyone's yearly salary and versus women's total yearly salary. It's not comparing pays, the actual pay. People at the same job aren't getting paid 12% less.
But then they also do say, look, if a guy and a girl doing the same job, getting paid exactly the same, the guy, the male, will generally progress further because of the characteristics that men have. Generally speaking, less agreeable, more aggressive, better negotiators is what Jordan Peterson talks about.
Which would then see them go into a different role, which now you're comparing different roles,
yeah,
right?
I mean, so they were asking for promotions, they're asking for pay rises, but it's not always the case. I mean, there's certainly some aggressive women that I've...
We got to talk in general. No. Like, yes, there's obviously always going to be exceptions.
Well, it's through... He talks through clinical trials. He just looks at the data, pure and simple. So, and his data backs everything he says. But, it's probably new data since then.
Glenn Anthony is here. He said, asked a female at work to lift a 20-kilo box. She couldn't do it. Ask a male to lift it, and he did it with ease. And women want the same pay.
There it is.
Cheers, Glenn.
Good on you, mate.
Gareth Mead says no such thing. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. We've had a good mixture of responses there.
Yes.
I don't think we've come up with the actual what's the verdict, but I think what we've come up with is there is reasons outside of just being a man or being a woman that determines this. It is not just the fact that women just get paid less for being a woman.
But again, keep your comments rolling in. You know, we'd love to hear from you.
But we did put that question out last night, and this morning you had. As soon as you got in here, your phone rang, and it was one of your mates who had a bit to say. This one rubbed him the wrong or right way. I don't know. I don't know what the conversation was, but he had a bit to say about this topic.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out because he wants to chat on the podcast, and I'm really glad that he does. He owns a very large business, and he was very passionate, very opinionated about it. So let's get him on. Let's ask him a few questions.
What's his name?
Okay, so we're going to call Keith. Yes,
I like it.
And as I say, Keith runs a very large...
Is this Keith that I've met before?
Yeah, you know Keith.
Perfect.
Yep. He sells kit homes. He's very successful, does very, very well, but it seems very passionate about this topic. So I'm interested to have a chat.
Let's give him a call.
How you doing?
Keith, mate, 4 o'clock somewhere. How are you?
Good.
How are you, Keith?
Good. Big fan.
Appreciate that. Welcome to the show,
Love
mate. We are recording right now, so I hope you're happy to be.
Shit, look out.
But Tony was just telling me that you gave him a call this morning and had a bit of a chat about our question of the week. Is gender pay gap real? Tell us your experiences.
Well, not in his household. I did explain that to him.
Enlighten us.
So, yeah,
He knows me.
it's not a good example, but it does exist. I've been employing people for a long time. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but at the moment it does exist. It's probably not as big a gap as what it was, say, 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, but it still does exist.
And so you're saying this within your business, it exists? You pay
100%.
women. You pay women less than men?
Yeah, if it's exactly the same role, I do believe there's probably about a 10% gap still. But
Why would you say that? Why do you pay women 10% less? Because this is interesting to me.
So it depends on what they're doing. So it's all, everyone's got a different role. We're in the building industry, and it's a male-dominated sort of industry. Like one of the examples Tony was using, he said, what about a brickies labourer? Now, I mean, not being derogatory, but if you've got a female brickies labourer, she's not going to be able to be as good as a male brickies labourer. It's not going to be able to move as much mud in a day. It's not going to be as efficient.
So there is
And
still a
that's just
difference in
genetic.
skill sets. So it's not
Well,
it's not just because they're a woman. It is a skill set test as well.
It's a skill set, and it's brute strength. Like you've got professional rugby players. The best female professional rugby player is not going to be, wouldn't even make it in a low grade men's rugby team.
But that's an obvious analogy. What about two people, say, in the office doing the same job?
Okay, so we do a lot of supply with builders and tradies. A male can get their point across a lot easier than what a female can sometimes. And and I'm not this is just
it's a
fact.
30-second conversation rather than 10
cold
minutes.
hard. I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. If you're bringing up a tradie on site and telling him that his roof's going to be delayed, I've found that they will fire back at the female and probably want to speak to someone else, whereas someone else can ring them up and say, hey, your roof's delayed, we're all sorry about it, we all want to get there as quickly as possible, but these are the facts. It won't go any further. Whereas often there'll be Again,
correct me if I'm wrong, though, Keith. It's characteristics, right? Men are more aggressive. They can get things, they can negotiate a little bit harder, generally speaking, and women are just agreeable and will just let things slide as opposed to pushing the time frame and getting it done.
In building industry. Yeah, sugarcoating, because the woman will try and sugarcoat it, whereas the man will just say, hey, these are the facts. I'm not here to argue with you. This is just the facts. And, your roof's going to be 2 days delayed. And they go, oh, okay, I don't like what you've told me, but that's the facts. Whereas the woman will try and say, I feel what you're doing and I wish it was happening. And it's an opportunity for comeback. And like they basically, they're not as aggressive, which is nice, but it's not getting the job done. And it's, at the end of the day, you're trying to get the job done. That's all you're trying to do. You're not trying to make friends. You're not trying to, beat around the bush, but to get the facts across the line. And I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel that men are better at doing that. And it depends on what industry you're in, of course. It's about a male-dominated industry, and you're dealing with males 90% of the time.
So when you're hiring someone then, whether it's a guy or girl, how do you predetermine that if they are going to be that or not? Because you could get a girl that happens to be amazing. Why are you predetermining what her pay is going to be, assuming that she's going to be?
Never. No, I do a lot of hiring and firing. I can take 2 minutes whether someone's right for the role.
Yep.
Basically we've got the dog at the front door. If the dog doesn't like them, they don't go any further. And it's just, that's the first point of call. Like I said, you get to know someone's strengths and weaknesses within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything else is just padding.
I couldn't agree more. In transport, we're in the transport game. We say got 80 sales reps. Our highest performing sales reps are the women because they're dealing with warehouse managers. They're dealing with the men. And
what are they wearing?
Nothing. Basically nothing. That's it. That's the truth. Get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on what you're selling as well, because if you're selling a building product, well, yes, there are some very good female sales reps, but they're more schmoozling than actually selling a product. They've got a product that everyone knows about, and I'm talking about the big multinational companies. Everyone already knows what their product does. They're just order taking.
Yep.
but the finer details of trying to make a sale information is often done better with a male. And once again, if you're trying to sell to, say, the older generations, a male will do better. Yeah. But, hey, I could be wrong.
No, I really appreciate your input on this.
Yeah, good on you, Keith.
Yeah. No, we'll leave it at that for now, but thank you so much for taking the call. That's a very interesting take on it all, and it was good to hear a bit of inside your actual business of how things run. So appreciate your time, mate.
All right, you're welcome. Cheers. Thanks for the call.
Have a good one.
Well, there you go. Well, that's the building industry. Again, it'd be nice to to have a few more calls.
I love his honesty.
They're very honest.
Love his honesty in saying that, yes, within his business there is actually some disparities in the pay between men and women. However, once again, we did come out to some outside factors. So it's not just because you're a woman you're getting paid less. There were key factors that did play a part. So I think it's silly to assume just a blanket statement because you're a woman you're going to get paid less. It'll all depend on skill sets and proving yourself. For in
sure.
The end. Yeah.
What hair salon? What if the women get paid more than the male hairdressers?
Well, I'm paying a hell of a lot less at a hair salon, I tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not having a go at you, really.
All right, let's move on, eh? But before we do move on, quick shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, Monkey Tree Brewing. Thank you, Monkey Tree Brewing, for always supporting our podcast and supplying us with the best around the beers. Mate, well, we're drinking a stout right now. They've got a range of approximately 50 or so drinks that you can get in a kegerator, or if you like, a beer tap fridge. Yeah. Is what I like to call them. You can rent them out for your party. You can get a 2-3 tap beer taps fridge for renting your party.
Yeah, keep going.
Or you can buy one and have it in your house, ready for the UFC, ready for the footy, ready for a good night with the boys. So.
It's quite clear that Jashan's had a few. That's how much we love Monkey Tree, and we also love not just the beers, but we love the spirits as well. We're coming to the end of our dark ale, which we thoroughly enjoyed. Highly recommend them. Look them up in Slacks Creek. Get out there, hire a kegerator fridge. Get up it.
Thank you, Monkey Tree Brewing. Link will be in description. Oh, I've got some gripes here, Tony.
I know.
I've got a gripe, and it's happening right now. Do I start? Can I just start? Yeah, I need to start.
Get into it.
Yeah, all right. Passport prices. Did you know in Australia, we have like the most expensive passports in the world by a long shot?
Okay, now why the passport?
So we're
thing?
in the middle of doing Cassie's passport, and Harmony, she doesn't have a passport yet, so we're in the middle of getting it all sorted out, and $412 for a passport. And so I was curious. I'm like, how much is passports everywhere else? This seems extreme. Do you know we are like the most expensive by a long shot?
I didn't know that.
Crazy. Like I'll list out some of the passport prices around the world. So Australia, $412. Guess how much it is in the USA?
Tell me.
$165.
Okay, that's money. That's currency transfer.
Yeah.
Aussie dollars.
We're accounting for everything. China, the equivalent, $208. UAE, so Dubai and stuff, $28.
Yeah, love them.
$28.
Going to Dubai.
UK, $194. Italy, $191. Singapore, $79. And here we are up at $412.
Why do you think that is?
Because Australia is a piece of and they are just rorting us for every cent they can. And yeah.
You know, it doesn't stop there, right? Like it could take 600 years for that to come through, but if you want it done in a timely fashion,
double the money, yeah,
you got to pay more.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like, yeah, it'll take you over a month to get. It's about a month wait. Once you do it, it's a month to get your passport.
And you can hear the woman as you're walking away when she goes, "It's going to cost you a little bit more," and you can hear her as you're walking away. You know that real witchy.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we love to rip off our people here in Australia. What happened to Australia being the greatest country out? Australia, I swear we're going downhill.
Australia is not the greatest country.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. It's far from it. They can put New Zealand in that as well, and you can thank the politicians that run it, and they're running it into the ground, of course. And that's just another byproduct of it.
Yeah,
it's not even my beef, and I'm pissed off about it.
Yeah, $412, while the rest of the world is like less than half the price.
Where are you going with this passport anyway?
It doesn't matter. Somewhere outside of Australia.
Anywhere but here.
Get me the hell out of here. But yeah. And then we doubling it up because we got a little one that we're sorting out for now as well. But yeah, double the price.
The price is a problem, but I think the time frame is even a bigger problem.
Yeah, no rush. It's like they try to make the extra money out of you.
Yeah. I mean, we had a friend went over to Fiji and she couldn't find a passport, so she went to the consulate. They they charged her $400 more and cancelled her passport. But this was on a Saturday. They said it won't be formally cancelled till the Monday. She went home on the Saturday. She's flying out that night. She found the passport, the old passport. So she went there, and there was a huge kerfuffle at the airport, and it wasn't going into. It was actually coming back from Fiji.
Oh, right.
So she got in. It was coming back. So there was a huge uproar. Like, they don't make it easy for you, right?
No. And another thing, luxury car tax. Everyone complaining about Trump's tariffs and shit right now. Guess what one of our biggest tariffs we've had on the States or around the world is? Luxury car tax. It's called a luxury car tax. It's a tariff. It's a 33% tariff on any whatever the dollar amount is. And that was brought out to combat, to help Holden when they were being manufactured here, to save our car industry. That's been gone since 2017.
Where's Holden now?
It's gone. Since 2017.
That's it.
And they kept the tariff in place and just called it a luxury car tax. What is soften the blow, thinking that's better.
Yeah, what is it? 75,000, is it?
Yeah, I think it's high 70s now. But for every dollar over, and by the way, the price of cars has almost doubled.
Yeah.
And this tax threshold, this tariff threshold hasn't. It hasn't kept up. They're just trying to keep it down there. So every car over, let's just call it 78,000, every dollar is taxed at 33% or tariffed. Let's tell it what it is.
Yep.
Everyone hates the word tariff, so let's put Australia in that category. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
33% of every dollar.
Shit. There you go.
Over 78 grand. Yeah.
Can I be honest with you? I really don't give a shit about that. You know why? Because my car is $20,000 worth, brand new. I've been driving it since 2016.
Yeah, but you can't afford a new car, mate.
That's exactly right. So I don't care about luxury. But I tell you what I do care about. I just hope they don't bring in luxury fake watch taxes. Because my little fake Rolex here.
Well, Rolex might be coming after you soon for having a fake fraudulent piece of jewellery on your wrist.
Oh, gee, I love it though. It stains my skin. But apart from that, I love it.
That's my beef.
Yeah,
Australia.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We're just rorting ourselves.
No, there is something happening in Australia. Like Labor got back in. How the fuck did they get back in, right? I think we know. There's a couple of suspicions out there, and it's not pretty. But this country is going downhill very, very fast. People, we need to stand up. We need to do something. We're doing our part. We're talking about it. We need the people to come together.
Yeah. Australia, you're my beef this week.
Maybe as long as we're under the monarch and we're not our own independent sovereign country, are we able to really break free?
What does the monarch even do? What do we do?
Oh man, I'm going to lose some friends here, but I can't stand the monarch. I can't stand them. I hate them with a passion.
It was funny.
I hate them with a passion.
when the Queen died, I remember we were just in conversation. I was talking to my mum and she was like, "No, she did a great job though." I'm like, "What was her job?" She's like, "Oh, well, she
ripping off the people,
runs the." I'm like, yeah, exactly. But what did she do? Well, what does that mean?
She got around in a pure gold carriage, or certainly looks pure gold carriage. Basically, running old school
just
rituals,
waving to people.
You won't see hypocrisy on a much grander scale than you will when you look at the monarch. And every now and then they run their little rituals and do their little thing. And the sheep that buy into it are out there lined up. I think most people are there just for the spectacle. I don't really think as many people buy into the old monarch. If they really cared about people, they first of all, they don't pay any bloody taxes. That's just ridiculous.
I've just sparked a beef for Tony right here. Right? He's ready to go. Tell us, Tony. Tell us, mate. Psych yourself up. Let's hear it.
Give some of your billions to good causes, or your trillions, I should say.
Don't even give us that. Just get rid of our bloody passport prices, mate.
just let Australia be free. Lower the. I like that. Just lower the passport prices, Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, King, what is he? King, what a clown. The King. What an absolute goofbag. Anyway, I have a beef.
What do we got?
Oh. This is an ongoing beef, and it's maybe small in some people's minds, but to me it's massive because it's everywhere, and it's mold.
Okay, you got some mold problems at home?
Yeah, always. Yeah, everywhere. Made worse by the floods, the cyclone and the floods, and that flooded the sheds and everything else, of which I still haven't cleaned. But and that brings in a whole new family of mold. That is mouldy mold from saltwater mold.
Saltwater mold.
Oh, that's one mold.
What's that mean?
No, mold is mold.
Mold is mold.
And it's like, it follows me everywhere I go.
Bloody moldy, hey?
Yeah, look, I can't. Obviously, it's the health risks that go with it. And no matter how many times you clean a certain part in the shower, no matter how many times you clean grout, no matter how many times you, even glass, like pool glass, if you leave it on the other side, you get mold on the other side.
Mold, yeah.
Which then leads me to the swimming pool, which is a constant mold checkup every month. Yeah, you get guys in there, but now I've got black spot.
Oh, are you chucking chlorine in the pool or what?
Yeah, I chuck salt in. Yeah. But I've got black spot in there. Black spot's that's a tough mold.
But you got to try to take care of it before it gets to that stage, mate.
Oh, I talk to it. It's like a plant. You get out there.
Mate, you've got a robot bloody pool vacuum.
Yeah, well,
how are you going wrong?
Yeah,
you've got a robot supposed to be doing this stuff for you.
Well, you try telling him that. He just goes straight over the black spot.
Yeah, but you could have prevented that black spot. How did that black spot get there to start with?
No, well, it starts because of a whole lot of rain. As you know, it's just been raining endless. It seems months here. So the salt content goes down, chlorine goes down, and everything else.
Top it up.
And then black spot comes. And then because we go away a lot, we'll go away.
Drink a beer and go top up your pool salt, mate.
Yeah, talk to your pool. And we go away for 2 weeks, we come back and there's black spot. And about black spot...
What is black spot?
Well,
is it mold?
It's an algae, it's a mold.
Algae.
They're all related. They all talk to each other.
It's not really mold in a pool, it's algae, isn't it?
They're same. Aren't they the same? But the difference with...
I don't think so. I think mold is a kind of algae.
Yeah, well, they're related. And the black spot has this coat of something. So you've got to take the coat off with a wire brush or whatever before we'll even get into the mold. And that's that. Like there's mold in areas of the house. Like my wife walks into the bedroom.
Yeah, see, I can't relate to this because my pool is a little blow-up pool worth $20. I don't have...
Well, maybe I should...
Fucking try to attack me for...
you make me feel guilty. But no, it mold in spaces where you can smell it, but you can't see it. So, I mean, Danny reckons there's been mold in our bedroom for a year. She can smell it. I think it's in the air conditioner, but...
Maybe it's you. You are a moldy.
What? Is there anything that can actually kill mold? I mean, there's exit mold. And
are you a moldy? Yeah, you're classified a moldy, aren't you? You're half moldy?
I'm a moldy.
Yeah.
Moldy boat.
Well, maybe she's smelling you, mate.
She smells me.
She's smelling moldy.
Yeah, she smells me. She loves the scent of a man. You know the pheromones? You know the BO? My wife loves it.
Okay.
Anyway, off topic. Yeah. But I'm just saying mold. We have a...
I was going to say, Tony's about to start sucking his again here.
Mate, okay, can I tell you the epitome of where we're at? There's a family home in Melbourne where it has not been lived in 4 years because of mold infestation. And obviously it's something that we're dealing with, but that's at the worst degree. But mold is something that if you don't get a hold of it, it'll just rape and pillage your home, your life, and it's in areas of our property, it's kind of doing that. And it's just getting to me.
Fuck off, mold.
I don't know. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that really feels this way about mold?
Oh yeah, it's annoying, but I feel like your swimming pool's a bit different story, mate. I don't know if you could be complaining about that. It sounds like you just need to do a bit more pool maintenance. Use your robot. Tell your robot to do something.
I need to get my robot pissed and have a really good hard chat with him because he's not doing his job. I mean, you would know, mold. We had a little bit of rain here.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know some down here. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, or you put books away or CDs away. You think you've got it covered. You think you have them put away nice and you go and see them in 6 months and it's mold.
Moldy books.
Moldy everything.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much I can help you with that, man, and I don't know how much the people can help you.
Well, but
send me. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, if anyone really does have a remedy, a cure, or a product,
you call a mold specialist, mate. Have you done that yet? No.
Mold specialist. Maybe that's what we should do. Call a mold specialist. I'll just bitch and moan to him about it. He'll turn up. He'll fuck this mold.
No, very good, very good. I think I preferred my one. That one, passports. I think that's a bit more important.
Yeah, well, there's no point getting a passport if you're not going anywhere. Can't wait to find out where you're going.
All right. Anyway, quick shout out to Fan of the Week, and mate, we're gonna have to give it to Joshua Vaught this week, simply because he has been very involved in this conversation.
That would have taken like half of his day.
He's put a lot of effort into this response, which we do appreciate. I will take time and read this all properly later. I did do an AI summary of it just for the sake of time on the podcast, but I will have a good read to it and probably respond to you there, mate. But thank you so much for putting in the effort. putting in the time. And guys, make sure you subscribe on all of our platforms. We're over on Facebook right now. This is probably where a lot of our conversations on these sort of topics happen. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you follow us on all platforms. All links are down in description.
Yes, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Well said, Josh.
Because a reminder, and I'm going to remind this every week to make sure it does happen. If we hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of this year, you are getting a tattoo. You shook on it last episode, I will be reminding it every single episode until we hit it.
I've been looking at some too. I've been looking at like a big cobweb right on my elbow. I'm looking at
cobweb on your
like big shoulder tats. I'm looking at neck. I'm covering all bases here.
I'll give you by the start of next month to make a decision what that tattoo will be. Because I said last episode, I don't want to say what it should be because then you'll say, no, I never agreed to that. So you've got to make your own call for your own tat, and we want an answer by the first week of June.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to choose it. It's going to be in my body for the rest of my life. And there's a huge part of me that's kind of excited about the tat, not that excited about the pain, of which I spoke to my wife about. She goes, you haven't had childbirth, darling. Don't talk to me about pain.
Are we going to get a TENS machine on the podcast one day? I think we do it. I think they're talking smack about labour pain. I reckon I could handle it.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get one of those TENS machines.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard about those.
Let's experience it. So the wives can stop using that as against us. You haven't experienced labour pain. In fact, I have. And here's a video.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad?
Now, how does the machine work? Is there something that our wives can
contracts
control?
Yes. Yeah. So you can turn it on. You can press the button. Yeah, they can do it.
It's electric shock.
It's like a muscle contraction thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it just tightens up everything. And,
Oh, as long as it stays away from the man junk, I'm all for it.
I've put one on my face before, but it wasn't at the crazy level. So it was on a crazy level, but it just went. It felt like you were being punched in the face. It was like poof, shocks both sides. Yeah, that was a bit of fun.
It's gonna hurt. Let's be honest. I've been through 3 pregnancies. I mean, visually
that hurt your soul,
and that hurt. Just watching.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like and subscribe. We will see you guys next week.